Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the UES Hyperion, watching as the massive Arcturian capital ship emerged from hyperspace. Its crystalline structure caught the light of the binary stars, creating prismatic patterns that belied its deadly purpose. After 3 decades of Cold War, this meeting represented humanity's last attempt at peaceful resolution with the Arcturus Dominion. Admiral. Her eye assistant Aria's voice was calm but carried an undertone of concern. The Arcturian vessel is transmitting their readiness for your shuttle's departure. However, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from their auxiliary weapon systems. Chen's jaw tightened. Log it, but take no action. We knew this was a risk. She straightened her dress uniform, touching the silver dove pin on her collar, a gift from her late father, who had survived first contact. Sometimes, peace requires walking into the dragon's mouth. The shuttle bay was quiet as Chen boarded with her small diplomatic team. Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading xenolinguist, and Commander Jenna Santos, her personal security chief, took their seats without a word. They all understood the gravity of their mission. As their shuttle approached the Arcturian vessel, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong. The Arcturians, despite their technological superiority, had agreed too readily to these talks after years of refusing diplomatic contact. The Arcturian docking bay was a marvel of biomechanical engineering. Living metal pulsed with bioluminescent veins, and atmosphere barriers shimmered like liquid mercury. High Executor Vixtal waited for them, his crystalline exoskeleton gleaming under the ambient light. Admiral Chen. Vixtal's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into smooth English. The Dominion welcomes you. His secondary arms remained folded, a sign of disrespect in Arcturian culture that didn't go unnoticed by Wong. Chen bowed slightly, exactly 15 degrees, enough to show respect but not submission. High Executor, we come seeking peace between our peoples. Peace. Vixtal's primary eyes shifted color slightly. An interesting concept from a species that arose from warfare. They were led through corridors that seemed to breathe, past Arcturian guards whose weapon crystals hummed with barely contained energy. Chen noticed they were taking an unusual route to the diplomatic chambers, but saying so would only reveal their intelligence on Arcturian ship layouts. The chamber they entered was vast, its walls displaying real-time views of space around them. But Chen's trained eye noticed something else. The room was a kill box with multiple concealed weapon ports. Before we begin, Vixtal moved to a raised platform. I must address an issue of grave concern. He gestured, and holographic displays materialized, showing human ships. These vessels, detected at the edge of Dominion space. Chen recognized them. Civilian research vessels, operating well within agreed boundaries. Scientific expeditions, as permitted by lies. Vixtal's translator couldn't fully capture the contempt in his harmonics. We have tolerated humanity's expansion long enough. You breed like parasites, spread like a virus, contaminating the purity of space with your chaos. Commander Santos tensed, her hand moving slightly toward her concealed weapon. Chen gave her a subtle sign to stand down. High Executor, if you have concerns about our activities, we can establish new protocols. No. Vixtal's exoskeleton began to glow with bioluminescent patterns, a sign of strong emotion. The Council has decided. Humanity's time among the stars ends today. The weapon ports in the walls opened. Chen stood tall, understanding now why the Arcturians had chosen her for this meeting. As Earth's most decorated admiral, her death would send a message. Then you never intended peace, she said quietly. You just wanted to prove your superiority one last time. Superiority implies comparison, Vixtal responded. You are beneath comparison. Chen smiled then, a gesture that seemed to unsettle the High Executor. She pressed a small button on her dove pin. A quantum entangled transmitter. Maybe. But you should have learned more about human history, Vixtal, about the price of underestimating us. The first shots fired as Chen moved, pushing Wong behind a column. Santos managed to take down 2 guards before falling. The Admiral's last act was to speak clearly into her collar. Area. Protocol Thermopila. Authorization Chen 003. Light and pain engulfed her, but Chen died knowing she had completed her mission. Light years away, Area received the quantum signal and initiated humanity's contingency plans. The Arcturians had wanted to send a message. They would soon learn that humanity's response would be far louder. As news of the massacre reached Earth, the response was immediate and unprecedented. For the first time in human history, every nation, every faction, united under a single banner. The UEA's Hyperion's eye broadcast Chen's final moments across every channel, every network. In orbit around Earth, shipyards that had been operating in secret for decades revealed themselves, unveiling vessels built with technology the Arcturians had never seen. On Mars, underground facilities activated, launching swarms of autonomous combat drones. From the ice mines of Europa to the research stations in the Kuiper Belt, humanity's hidden strength emerged from the shadows. In the UES war room, Fleet Admiral Victor Torres watched the preparations with grim determination. A hologram of Sarah Chen floated above the central table, her last known image. "They thought killing you would break us," he said quietly. "Instead, you gave us the reason to show our true strength." The largest military mobilization in human history began. The Arcturus Dominion had made a fatal mistake. They had given humanity a reason to stop holding back. The war for survival had begun, but not in the way the Arcturians had planned. They had expected to hunt prey, only to find they had awakened something far more dangerous, a species that had spent its entire history preparing for this moment, a species that had turned its greatest weakness, its constant readiness for war, into its greatest strength. The stars themselves would bear witness to humanity's response, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Arcturian patrol fleet never saw the attack coming. Their sensors, calibrated to detect standard human energy signatures, registered nothing until it was too late. The void erupted with weapons fire from seemingly empty space as human stealth ships materialized around them. Captain Maya Patel watched from the bridge of the UES Phantom as her strike force executed the ambush perfectly. The Arcturian ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming with alarm patterns, tried to form a defensive formation. But humanity had spent years studying their tactics, and this time they were ready. "Target their resonance nodes," Paddle ordered, her voice steady. The Phantom's quantum targeting systems locked onto the precise frequencies that would disrupt the Arcturians' biomechanical systems. Fire. The new human weapons, dubbed frequency disruptors, struck with surgical precision. The Arcturian vessels didn't explode. Instead, their living metal hulls simply ceased functioning, crystal structures turning dark and lifeless. "All ships disabled, Captain," her tactical officer reported. "No survivors detected." Patel nodded grimly. "Begin recovery operations. I want their navigation cores intact." This was just one of dozens of simultaneous strikes across Arcturian space, part of Operation Shattered Stars, humanity's answer to decades of oppression. In the 3 months since Admiral Chen's assassination, humanity had revealed its true technological capabilities. The Arcturians had never imagined that humans had developed quantum cloaking, or that they had managed to reverse engineer and improve upon salvage Arcturian tech. Back on the Lunar Command Center, Fleet Admiral Torres reviewed the ongoing operations. Holographic displays showed hundreds of strike teams executing precision hits across Arcturian territory. The enemy's supposedly impregnable defense network was being systematically dismantled. "Sir," his strategic AI advisor Zeus projected itself beside him, taking the form of a classical Greek warrior. "The Phantom Strike Group reports another successful operation. That makes 37 Arcturian patrol fleets neutralized without a single human casualty." Torres studied the tactical overlay. "And their response?" "Confusion, sir. Our analysis suggests they're struggling to adapt to our asymmetrical warfare tactics. They expected a direct confrontation where their superior numbers would prevail. They thought we'd fight like them, Torres mused. That's always been their weakness, the inability to imagine anything beyond their own way of thinking. The Arcturian response, when it came, was predictably overwhelming. They dispatched their main battle fleets, massive armadas of crystal ships that darkened the stars themselves. But humanity was no longer playing by their rules. Instead of meeting the Arcturian fleets in open battle, human forces struck at supply lines, communication nodes, and strategic choke points. Teams of specialist commandos, equipped with phase shift technology, infiltrated Arcturian installations and disappeared before the enemy knew they were there. On the frontier world of New Terra, Dr. Wang, who had survived the Diplomatic massacre thanks to Admiral Chen's sacrifice, worked with a team of xenobiologists to perfect a virus that could infect the Arcturians' living metal technology. It wasn't enough to match their enemy's strength. Humanity needed to turn that strength into a weakness. The UES Phantom's next mission demonstrated this new strategy. Patel's ship led a small task force deep into Arcturian space, targeting one of their primary shipyards. The facility was heavily defended, but that wasn't going to stop them. Deploy the viral payloads, Patel ordered. Thousands of microscopic drones, each carrying Dr. Wang's cybernetic virus, swarmed toward the shipyard's crystalline structures. The effect was devastating. The living metal began to turn on itself, crystal matrices degrading and biological components failing. The Arcturian defenders watched helplessly as their mighty shipyard literally dissolved before their eyes. Message from High Command, her communications officer announced. Similar attacks successful across 12 other shipyard facilities. The Arcturian ship production capability has been reduced by 60%. For the first time since the war began, Patel allowed herself a small smile. The Arcturians had thought humanity weak because they hadn't seen massive fleets or planet-destroying weapons. They hadn't understood that humanity's greatest weapon was its ability to adapt, to think differently, to turn an enemy's strength against them. In the Arcturus Dominion's Central Command, High Executor Vixtal faced the mounting crisis. Their mighty empire, built on technological superiority and biological purity, was being dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive. The humans didn't fight with honor or follow the accepted rules of warfare. They struck from shadows, used deception, and fought with a creativity that bordered on chaos. The humans must be eliminated, Vixtal declared to his war council. Prepare the World Breaker fleet. If we cannot defeat them with precision, we will destroy everything they have built. But as the massive World Breaker ships began to mobilize, human intelligence was already analyzing, adapting, and planning. Humanity had spent its history fighting itself, learning and evolving through countless wars. Now those hard-learned lessons would prove to be their salvation. The true test of Operation Shattered Stars was about to begin, and the galaxy would learn why humans had survived countless near extinctions on their own world. They weren't just fighting for victory. They were fighting for survival, and that made them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The World Breaker fleet emerged from hyperspace like a crystalline tsunami, each ship larger than a small moon. Their biomechanical hulls pulsed with enough energy to shatter planets. High Executor Vixtal had committed the Dominion's ultimate weapons to this fight, expecting to finally break humanity's resistance. Instead, they found empty space. Human colonies that should have been there were gone, not destroyed, but completely vanished. Orbital stations, defense platforms, mining facilities, all evacuated with a speed and efficiency that the Arcturians had thought impossible. In the command center of Titan Base, now hidden beneath the moon's icy surface, Dr. Wang studied the Arcturian fleet's movements. They still don't understand, he said to Fleet Admiral Torres. They think in terms of fixed positions, of holding ground. They never considered we might simply leave. Torres watched the massive enemy fleet through quantum-linked sensors. Mobility has always been humanity's advantage. Our ancestors were nomads before they built cities. Now we're nomads among the stars. The evacuation protocols, codenamed Desert Mirage, had been centuries in the making. Every human colony, every station, was built with the capability to go dark, to disappear completely or even appear to be destroyed. It was a strategy born from humanity's long history of guerrilla warfare. Aboard the UES Phantom, Captain Patel received new orders. All ships prepare for Operation Thunderclap. She transmitted to her strike force. Quantum signatures synchronized. Execute on my mark. The human fleet had been hiding in plain sight, using their perfected cloaking technology. As the world breakers spread out searching for targets, they positioned themselves for the counterstrike. Mark. Hundreds of human ships decloaked simultaneously, but not to attack. Instead, they unleashed a new weapon, quantum resonance disruptors designed specifically for the world breakers' crystalline structure. The massive ships began to vibrate at frequencies their biomechanical systems couldn't handle. The pride of the Arcturian fleet, their unstoppable world breakers, began to tear themselves apart from within. Crystal spires shattered. Living metal screamed in frequencies that rippled through space. Ships that could have destroyed worlds were reduced to drifting debris fields. But victory came at a cost. The energy required for the quantum attack burned out systems across the human fleet. Ships went dark, their crews switching to emergency power. They had struck a devastating blow, but now they were vulnerable. Vic Stahl, watching from his command ship, saw his opportunity. Conventional fleet, advance. Crush them while they're weakened. The remaining Arcturian ships surged forward, weapons charge, but this too was part of the human plan. From the debris field of the shattered world breakers, swarms of autonomous drones activated. Built in secret using stolen Arcturian technology, they attacked with devastating precision. Sir, Zeus appeared beside Taurus. Phase 1 of Operation Thunderclap complete. Casualties higher than projected. We've lost 30% of our fleet's operational capacity. Taurus nodded grimly. The plan had worked, but the cost was steep. Begin Phase 2, and send word to the Lazarus teams. Their time has come. Across the battlefield, specially trained human teams in phase-shifted craft began boarding the disabled Arcturian vessels. Their mission wasn't to destroy, but to capture. Each team carried specialized AI viruses designed to infect and convert the living metal of Arcturian ships. On the bridge of his command ship, Vic still received increasingly desperate reports. Ship after ship going silent, then turning against their own fleet. The humans weren't just defeating them. They were turning the Dominion's own technology against them. Impossible. He chittered, his crystalline exoskeleton flaring with rage patterns. They are savages, primitives. How can they do this? His answer came in the form of a transmission, broadcasting on all frequencies. Admiral Taurus's hologram appeared before him. You called us primitives, High Executor, but we learned something you forgot long ago. Adaptation is the key to survival. Every defeat taught us. Every setback made us stronger. As if to emphasize his words, another wave of Arcturian ships went dark, their living metal now responding to human commands. The mighty Dominion fleet was being dismantled piece by piece, transformed into weapons for their enemy. In the depths of Titan Base, Dr. Wong made a discovery that would change the course of the war. Studying captured Arcturian technology, he found something unexpected in their biomechanical systems, signs of artificial manipulation. The Dominion's supposedly pure biological technology had been engineered by someone else long ago. Admiral, he called Taurus, I think I know why they hate us so much. They see in us what they're trying to hide from themselves, the ability to change, to evolve. Their entire empire is built on stolen technology they've barely modified in millennia. The revelation spread through human command. The Arcturians weren't the superior beings they claimed to be. They were stagnant, trapped by their own pride in a technological dead end. Meanwhile, Humanity's greatest strength was what the Dominion despised most, their constant drive to adapt and improve. As the battle raged on, a new phase of the war was about to begin. Humanity had proven it could fight back, but now they needed to press their advantage. The Lazarus teams, spreading through captured Arcturian ships like a virus through a system, were about to reveal the full extent of human ingenuity. The price of pride was being paid in shattered crystal and broken empires. But the true cost of this war was still to come. Deep within the captured Arcturian vessel's memory core, Lieutenant Sarah Wong, Dr. Wong's daughter, and a quantum systems specialist, discovered something that changed everything. The ship's biological computers held fragments of ancient data, corrupted but recoverable. "This can't be right," she whispered, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. The ship's living metal seemed to respond to her touch more naturally than it had to its original masters. The UES Phantom, now serving as a mobile command center for the Lazarus teams, held position in the shadow of a gas giant. Captain Patel watched as Sarah's discovery was verified by multiple AI systems. "The Arcturians aren't the original creators of this technology," Sarah explained to the assembled command staff. "They're not even the original inhabitants of their home system. They're refugees, just like us." The data painted a stark picture. Millennia ago, the crystalline beings had fled their own dying world, finding and claiming the technology of a long-vanished civilization. They had built their empire on these foundations, and their greatest fear was that someone would discover their secret. "That's why they hate us," Dr. Wong said, his voice heavy with realization. "We remind them of themselves, before they forgot who they were." In the Arcturus Dominion's inner sanctum, dissent was growing. Junior Executor Kylers, young by Arcturian standards, had begun questioning the wisdom of this war. The humans were not being defeated. They were growing stronger, learning, adapting. More importantly, they were doing something the Dominion had failed to do for thousands of years, improving upon the ancient technology. High Executor Kylers addressed the council, his crystalline form vibrating with suppressed emotion. "We must consider negotiation. The humans have proven." Silence. Vixtel's form flared with dangerous patterns. "They are discovering our secrets. They must be eliminated, no matter the cost." But Kylers was not alone. Other younger Arcturians had seen the humans' innovations, their ability to merge biological and mechanical systems in ways the Dominion had never imagined. A divide was forming between those who saw humanity as a threat and those who saw an opportunity. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Torres received an encrypted transmission from an unexpected source: Arcturian dissidents. They offered intelligence, shipping routes, security codes. More importantly, they offered a perspective on their own society that human intelligence had never managed to obtain. "We called them a monolithic empire," Torres mused to his AI advisor, "but they're as fractured as any society. We just couldn't see it before." ZUS's holographic form nodded. "The younger generation appears to be questioning centuries of doctrine. Our adaptation of their technology has forced them to confront their own stagnation." The war entered a new phase. Human ships, now augmented with fully integrated Arcturian technology, began precision strikes, not at military targets, but at the Dominion's information networks. The truth of their history, hidden for generations, began to spread through their society. Lieutenant Wong, working with sympathetic Arcturians, developed a new kind of interface, one that allowed direct neural connection with the living metal ships. Human pilots merged with their vessels in ways the Arcturians had never attempted, achieving levels of control that shocked their former masters. "We didn't just copy their technology," Sarah explained to Captain Patel as they watched a demonstration. "We understood it, communed with it. The living metal responds to empathy as much as commands." The Phantom, now a hybrid of human and Arcturian technology, had become something entirely new. Its hull rippled with patterns that reflected its crew's collective consciousness, and its capabilities exceeded anything either species had achieved alone. But High Executor Vixtel wasn't finished. As his society crumbled around him, he enacted a plan born of desperation. Deep in Arcturian space, a weapon had been discovered in the ancient ruins, something even the original creators had feared to use. "If we cannot rule," he declared to his dwindling loyal followers, "then none shall inherit the stars." The weapon was a stellar manipulator, capable of inducing artificial supernovas. Vixtal's plan was simple and terrible: to trigger a chain reaction that would destroy both human and Arcturian space, ending the conflict in fire. As the device powered up, drawing energy from multiple stars, the combined human-Arcturian resistance rushed to respond. The fate of both civilizations now hung in the balance, but they were no longer fighting as separate species. The true test would not be of military might or technological superiority, but of whether two different species could overcome their fears and prejudices to face a common threat. The shadow of the past loomed large, but redemption beckoned for those willing to reach for it. The stellar manipulator's activation sent shockwaves through spacetime itself. Stars began to pulse with unnatural energy as Vixtal's doomsday weapon drew power from their cores. The combined fleet of human and rebel Arcturian ships raced against time, their sensors tracking the cascading wave of stellar instability. Aboard the UES Phantom, now evolved into something neither fully human nor Arcturian, Captain Patel and Lieutenant Wong worked in perfect synchronization with their ship's living systems. The vessel's hybrid consciousness provided insights that neither species alone could have achieved. "The weapon's quantum signature is similar to the World Breaker's," Sarah reported, her neural link with the ship's systems providing real-time analysis. "But it's operating on a scale we've never seen." In orbit around the weapon's location, High Executor Vixtal watched with crystalline eyes that had lost all color save a deep, burning red. "Let them come," he commanded his loyal followers. "They will witness the price of defying the natural order." Fleet Admiral Torres, coordinating from the newly revealed Earth Defense Command Center, received continuous updates from both human and Arcturian sources. "The stellar cascade will reach populated systems in 6 hours," ZUS reported. "Once it begins, nothing in this sector of the galaxy will survive." But humanity had not come this far to watch everything burn. Dr. Wong, working with Junior Executor Kylers and a team of hybrid chip researchers, had made a crucial discovery. The ancient technology they had all been using wasn't just about control. It was about communication. "The living metal," Dr. Wong explained to the Emergency Council, "it doesn't just respond to commands. It remembers. It carries the echo of its creator's wisdom." The plan they devised was audacious. While the main fleet engaged Vixtal's forces, the Phantom would leave a small strike team directly to the stellar manipulator. But instead of trying to destroy it, they would attempt something never before conceived: communion with the ancient device itself. The battle erupted with devastating fury. Vixtal's loyalists fought with the desperation of zealots, while the combined fleet demonstrated the power of unified purpose. Human tactical innovations merged seamlessly with Arcturian biological technology, creating battle strategies that would have been impossible months earlier. Captain Patel guided the Phantom through the chaos, its hybrid systems allowing it to phase through enemy fire while maintaining perfect coordination with its escort ships. Lieutenant Wong, deep in neural connection with the ship, began broadcasting on frequencies that hadn't been used since the ancients walked among the stars. The stellar manipulator's surface was a maze of crystalline structures that dwarfed even the largest capital ships. As the strike team approached, Sarah's consciousness, merged with both human and Arcturian technology, touched something vast and ancient. "It's alive," she whispered, her voice carrying through both verbal and neural channels. "The whole thing. It's not just a weapon. It's alive." The revelation spread through both fleets. The ancients hadn't built their technology. They had grown it, nurtured it, developed a symbiotic relationship with it. The living metal wasn't just a tool. It was a bridge between organic and artificial life. High Executor Vixtal, watching his victory slip away, made one final attempt to activate the weapon. But the stellar manipulator, awakened by the combined consciousness of two species working in harmony, had other plans. The massive structure began to pulse with new patterns, its crystalline surface flowing like liquid light. Stars that had been on the verge of destruction stabilized, their energy flowing back through the ancient networks in ways that neither humans nor Arcturians had imagined possible. It was never meant to destroy, Kylers realized, his voice filled with wonder. It was meant to create. The stellar manipulator revealed its true purpose, not a weapon, but a tool for shepherding the evolution of stars and civilizations. The ancients hadn't vanished. They had ascended, leaving behind the means for other species to follow when they were ready. In that moment of revelation, the war ended not with a final battle, but with a beginning. Human adaptability and Arcturian precision, when combined, had unlocked something greater than either species had dreamed possible. Vixtal, his forces defeated and his worldview shattered, faced the combined fleet. His crystalline form had dulled, the light of fanaticism replaced by the weight of understanding. "What happens now?" he asked, addressing both his own people and the humans he had once dismissed as primitives. Admiral Torres's response was transmitted across all frequencies. "Now we do what humanity has always done. We adapt, we learn, and we move forward. Together." The dawn of a new age spread across the galaxy. The Arcturus Dominion transformed into something new, a civilization that embraced change rather than feared it. Humanity found not just allies but partners in the journey toward understanding the ancient legacy they had inherited. The hybrid ships, once symbols of conflict, became the foundation of a new age of exploration. Human consciousness and Arcturian biology merged with the living metal of the ancients, creating vessels capable of touching the very fabric of space-time. And in the great void between the stars, other ancient devices began to awaken, responding to the combined call of species who had finally learned to grow beyond their fears and limitations. The war that had begun with an assassination had ended with an ascension, proving that even in the darkest moments, the potential for transformation remained. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.